This is Morning Live. We are talking the 2018 education calendar. What is it going to pan out like, and how are things going to happen, especially in the midst of cholera?
Indeed. Now we have got another parent, concerned citizen, in the name of Ivan Mweene. Good morning to you.
Morning, Brian. How are you?
How do you not get tempted to squander the money for school fees?
Well, I mean,
or maybe you got tempted actually.
Okay, my biggest question was that since we haven't had a full term, does that mean that the school fees have to be cut?
Yeah,
That was my thinking.
All right.
But the money I kept on standby because I know school fees are coming, so
all right.
You can't run away from it.
You didn't have pressure? You didn't have pressure?
There's always pressure somewhere, but
yeah.
you just know you have to allocate and keep on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I always do.
So when it is announced that schools will reopen, this coming week, what was running through your mind? I
was thinking, okay, good. At least my daughter and I can get back to school, and because she loves school as well.
Yeah.
So she was very happy as well. So I was happy that we didn't have to wait until the end of the month for this process, and I'm happy that we are now moving forward with this situation.
All right.
Yeah.
The issue of the state of these schools where our children are going to has been obviously of great concern. Are the schools clean enough, and things of that nature? What's your take on that?
Well, I think the issue really is that this situation has brought us into a very interesting paradigm where we now have to audit ourselves as parents as well as the government, and everyone has to audit and say, look, how did we arrive at this place? Because you have to do a post-mortem, so it never happens again. Because all the other countries that have ever gone through any disaster, they always say, how did it happen? How did we get here? How do we make sure it never happens again? And that's what we need to do. Policies and systems have to be put in place so if it never happens again. And if there is a situation that arises, there is a backup that kicks in to say, okay, fine, schools are closed. Kids can access the syllabus on the internet, or teachers can send emails to parents. Look, we're closed for the next 2-3 weeks. Here's what the kids can be learning for the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is. So kids are continuously learning and not in this place of limbo where they don't know what to do, how to do it. So that I think has to be a policy that needs to be activated progressively, because we have to learn, we have to move forward. Things happen, mistakes are made, it's life, but let's learn. We have to learn and move forward, because why go always, what I think the phrase is, those who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it again and again and again. So let's learn, let's move forward. Let's not be afraid to admit we made mistakes, and let's just have this tendency to say, look, okay, who made the mistakes, where was it made, close the gaps, lock it in, and become much, much stronger and much more clear in your processes and move forward. I mean, that's how the Americas, the UKs, all these photo countries got to. They all went through their disease. I mean, the UK had the plague, which killed, I think, millions of people. But they learned this, okay, this thing was transmitted by rats. This is the sewage problem. Let's close up, and they cleaned up. Now there's no plague in the UK.
All right, so as a parent, have you taken interest to just inspect, for lack of better words, inspect this, the school where your child goes to?
Well, I
just to ensure that of course it's clean.
Even before, when my child actually was recruited to go where she does now, I actually did do inspection beforehand. All right. And the school has always been very clean. Even the times I've did spot checks as well, they've been very clean. So I never had any concerns regarding the cleanliness of the school. Whenever they had problems with water, they would actually tell parents, okay, we have a problem with water, and so there'll be no afternoon classes and so forth. So the school has been very, very proactive generally. So I've been very happy with them.
I mean, and that's very important, because parents must get involved, isn't it?
Yes, of course. I mean, you cannot delegate your responsibility as a parent to somebody else. You have to be involved 24/7 and at every facet of life, because your child is growing from 0 to 20 until they leave the house. But even when they leave, you're still involved at some stage. But you have to be constantly involved, because you as a parent are the actual first and last line of defense for the child, and you have to be involved. You cannot delegate to somebody else. You just can't. It's not realistic.
All right.
Yeah.
So what are your fellow parents saying about the reopening of schools?
Most of them are excited. Some actually had started these what they call home schools.
Okay.
Yeah. So they tried it, and some of them had a few challenges with it, but they're very happy with it. I think again, like I said, no one was really prepared for this. But I think this has taught everyone to be prepared. And one of the things I intend to do with my child's school is get them to have the syllabus online so we can be activated if there is a change in the dynamics later on and whatever happens, in case there's a flood or there's a drought.
All right. So when you were here when we were speaking to the Dr. Mwape from the Ministry of General Education.
Yes.
What's your take on what he's said so far regards the changes in the education system?
Well, obviously, when he talked about, when I heard about the issue of children being taken back from grade 9 back to grade 6, I was completely horrified and I'm shocked. I mean, how can you do that to a child? Because I thought psychologically and emotionally and just the trauma of not moving forward would have been just detrimental to the child. But when he clarified and said, okay, no, actually that's not the policy, and the actual idea is that all I have to do is basically rewrite the subjects they didn't do well in and move forward, I think that makes more sense. I mean, we have got to be a nation that moves forward in terms of our thinking and process. I mean, look, 20 years ago, we didn't have smartphones, now we do. 20 years ago, we didn't have the internet, now we do. So let's use all these tools that the world has given us and use them in a way that benefits our citizens so that they can grow and become better citizens. And because it's a global village, and we need to get our citizens to think outside the box or outside the borders of our country. There's Namibia, there's Mozambique, there are all these different countries that need to move forward, and we need to move forward with them, because the last thing we want to do is have a situation where the world moves 200 steps ahead of us and we're still moving 5 steps back. We need to start always moving forward, and that should be the general policy of any government, or any institutions, or any group. Even Zambia, I'm happy that you've got your studio next door that's going to be rebuilt soon. I'm waiting for that. And coffee for us guests in Cold Studios. But but the idea is let's always keep moving forward.
All right.
Yeah.
Earlier on, we're talking to Roger Setwambo, who was talking about the need for parents to also get involved, when it comes to helping mitigate the effects of these changes. First of all, the change in the opening day, the changes in the education system. How are you doing this? How are you hoping to mitigate the effects on your child?
Well, I think the only way you can actually do is just, again, the school. I mean, obviously, I'll be sitting down with my daughter's teachers to ask them, okay, look, we've lost time. Obviously, they have to increase the amount of homework the children are given, and also increase the time spent at school as well. That also will help to mitigate the situation. So it's a situation of catch up, if we can, so we don't find ourselves in a situation where we're lagging behind for the next term as well. All
right, your child will be under pressure, aren't you believe, because first of all, like you said, obviously, some teachers may want to offload lots of work on the child, and the child knows that I've missed a week, so I need to put in my A game, so to speak.
Right.
How do you hope to see your child through this period?
Well, I have to invest more time and help the process. I mean, you can't just say, okay, do the work and hands off. You have to also guide the child so she's understanding the extra work that she has to do. It's a process of, it's a partnership. Parents, teachers, and the child have to come together and move forward in one united way to help the child achieve the actual goals. So we have to all come together. It's not a one-man show. It's a group. It's a team effort. So we must work together as a team.
All right. I asked you the question that I asked one of our guests early on. There's word that the grade 12 results might be announced, might be released today, and so for the candidates who sat for these exams last year, they're under pressure right now. They dread the fact that their parents will be scolding them and things of that nature. What's your word to, first of all, the parents when it comes to supporting your child through this process?
Well, first and foremost, my best example is Richard Branson. He's a multi-billionaire, owner of the Virgin brand globally. He never finished grade 12, but he started his business. Bill Gates, also multi-billionaire, didn't finish university. There are many examples of people who never went to college or university but were able to become rich or successful. Life is not about always doing well in school per se. We need the basic tools, reading, writing, and all those, and arithmetic. That's very, very important. But the key is, what is your child's greatest talent? What are they good at? We need to build on that, because some children are very good as musicians. Build that. Some children are very good at with their hands. Build that. We need mechanics. We need different tools of trades. So parents need to find the child's greatest strength and amplify that, because we're all gifted differently. You're an excellent presenter. Judy's an excellent presenter. But it doesn't mean that somebody else will be an excellent presenter. Somebody else may be a very good cameraman. All those things we have to understand. We're all designed to do different things. And we have to learn not to bundle the kids onto one big group to say, oh, the money is in accountancy, let's everyone push to accountancy. But child may be terrible at mathematics, but very good at speaking. You see what I'm saying? So we need to find the child's greatest talents and push that talent. So I urge all parents, if they're out there, to understand who their child is and where their greatest strengths are, and push their greatest strengths. That's why they have those strengths.
All right, and for the child, because they're equally under pressure. They don't know whether they're going to have their supper or their dinner, because the parents are saying, you know what, if you fail, you must find your own supper.
No, well, I've never ascribed to that. Look,
yeah.
We must always tell our children that their rights are always going to be guaranteed. Food, shelter, clothes, guaranteed.
But the parent has spent huge sums of money. I've mean, they spent they even got a loan just for you to go to school, and then you fail.
Yeah, but the question is this: as a parent, did you understand where your child's strengths were? Because even as a parent, you actually may have faulted by putting a child into a school or an environment they were not best suited for. I mean, can you imagine a child who likes technical drawing, but you push them into becoming a doctor? Obviously, the child won't do well. So as parents, when the child is born, as the child grows, find out where is the child's greatest strength and push that. Because as a parent, when the child doesn't do well, the Japanese says the parent is the one who fails, not the child, because you failed to do the right job for them. You failed to give the child the right instructions to be the best they can be. So you as a parent actually failed. So it's not with the parent, the child shouldn't be under pressure. It's the parent, because the parent failed, the child.
All right. You know what's happening right now? I suspect that the child who's watching is clapping. Yes. Go deeper.
Yes, Uncle Ivan, yes.
Yes, Uncle Ivan, yes. Say it again. Mommy, come watch Morning Live. Yes, Uncle Ivan. Good morning to you. Thanks for making an appearance on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. Awesome stuff.